All right, Brad, we couldn't go the whole week without at least talking about opening day.
Yeah.
You were on vacation. I had a really busy work week. I was trying to figure out if I could do something. It didn't work out, but lo and behold, you were available on this Friday afternoon. We're not going to do a full episode. We're just going to talk about opening day, just a quick little thing, because we'll come back on Monday and do our normal show.
Yeah.
But we were all in a group text with my kids, and I'm like in the office on an offsite, so I'm just kind of checking in when I can. And I'm so jealous and envious that you guys are being able to pay attention to this game so closely, and I can't. And so I'm I've got the Apple Sports app going with the live activity so I can see, but I'm still missing all of that because all of a sudden, Giants are down 3-0. And then I see it's 3-2, but I can't figure out what the activity was to get to the two runs. And then I see you guys talking about, okay, Elio hit a bomb. Okay, I'm good.
Yeah.
So that experience, I missed a lot of it. I was able to catch recap stuff and read recaps of the game and stuff. But
I would suggest you go back and watch Ramos. Watch Jung-Hoo Lee, Chapman, and then Ramos is a bat. When Ramos hit the home run, because Jung-Hoo Lee worked a nice walk, got on base, and then Ramos with the home run. But Ramos's at bat was fantastic. So you need to go back and watch that, because it was like a 9-pitch at bat, and Hunter Green kept pumping him fastballs, and so Ramos, he was late on everything, and then he went outside corner, and at that point, Ramos kind of caught up to him and hit it oppo. So watch that.
Did you think that ball was? Did you think it was out when he hit it?
You know what? I didn't, but then I remembered it was Cincinnati, even though it was a cold day, beginning in the season, because Kuiper and Kruko, which is fantastic to have Kuiper and Kruko on the road, even though Kruko's at home, just having them broadcast together on opening day was pretty awesome. The delay was annoying. There's a little bit of a delay. It's kind of tough because they kept talking over each other, but no, when he first hit it, I kind of looked and I thought, oh crap. And then when I saw the right fielder, I think it was Fraley, turned around and just kind of gave up on it. I thought, oh, okay, it is out of here. Amazing on a cold day. I think it was like 45 degrees or something in Cincinnati yesterday. So to hit that bomb, that was pretty awesome.
We buried the lead, by the way. I think everyone listening to this knows the Giants won 6-4, come from behind victory in the 9th inning,
on pace for 162 wins
to win the game, and yet still, how many games behind the Dodgers already?
The Dodgers are 3-0, so we're 1-0. So what are we? 2 games behind still? Game and a half? I don't know.
So the whole thing was kind of poetic because of the teams that Buster played on, and Kuiper even mentioned it at the end when they did win, because the 9th inning, after taking this lead, and we'll talk about the Wilmer AB, but they take this lead, and they've been behind the whole game, had not taken the lead the whole game, and then they, in the 9th inning, I had actually asked you, because I saw that they had scored the run in the 9th, and I was like, okay, so what happened here? It was even more dramatic than what you said, because who was the last batter who Walker got out? He hits the ball to the track, and you could hear it in Kuiper's voice as like, on the track. And then he said at the end, he's like, of course, this is just what the Giants do. Of course, there's going to be some torture, in the opening day win. So Buster Posey's team, Buster Posey played on all the torture teams. It makes a lot of sense. But it was good to see them get the win. So let's go back to the beginning of the game. Logan Webb comes out. Hunter Green comes out, and he's just pumping 100. And I think he got 2 strikeouts in the first. Willie Adames took like a strike 3 that was like maybe below the knee, but I guess it touched the batter's box there, or the strike zone. And then, poor Jung-Hoo, he just couldn't catch up to that. Like, surprisingly, because Jung-Hoo is such a contact guy, he struck out twice to Green, but once Green was out, then he took 2 walks. And so, Logan, he's like, oh, this dude's pumping 100. I can get to 95. Strikes out the first 2 batters, and then he starts to tinker, and he walked a couple guys. And the guy who got the 2 hits to drive in all the 3 runs? What is his last name?
Candelario.
Candelario.
Heimer Candelario. Yeah, he used to play for the Cubs.
And so Giants are already down 1-0. And then the next time the Reds score, I was going to ask you, it's like I grew up a middle infielder, so I'm thinking about this play.
Yeah.
But De La Cruz is on first, and I don't even remember the batter was who hit the chopper behind the bag that Adames had to field. And Adames's instinct is to try and tag second, but Cruz got such a good jump that he would have beat Adames to the bag to get the force. So he sees that he can't get the force at second, and he tries to throw the runner out at first. Too late. Batters are safe, and the inning goes on. I bet you Adames is so frustrated with that play, and here's why. All he had to recognize is that De La Cruz was not sliding.
Exactly.
If he had recognized that in real time, he knows that he's not going to be able to stop himself on the bag. Right. So what he needed to do, he needed to fake the throw to first. De La Cruz he was already off the bag already. He could not stop himself. He would have been going to third, and then they would have been able to get him in the rundown. I bet you that Adames is thinking about that. Like right now, even though they have an off day, he's probably taking ground balls right now thinking like, man,
yeah,
I should have known my runner better, but it's the first game of the season.
You know who makes that play, who makes that deke play and then the tag? Omar Vizquel, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, that's the guy who makes that play.
Yeah.
That's another level. Willie Adames is a good to great shortstop. Vizquel, Ozzie Smith, those guys were like phenomenal shortstops. So I think that's, and again, that's instinctual, because at that point you realize that, I mean, Ellie De La Cruz, the whole play at that point is happening behind his back.
Yeah.
So he can't see what's going on. You're right. I mean, he threw his hands up, didn't even try to slide, just threw his hands up, ran across the bag, only came off about a step, but that's all you need.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh man, if he would have just stayed with that play, because if he would have tried to make the play at second, De La Cruz slides, or
he may not have had time to slide. So you still may have been able to get him by just holding the tag and then him kind of falling off the bag.
They probably would have run into each other on the bag. I'm sure that's what would have happened, and that would stop De La Cruz's momentum. And
both guys could have gotten hurt too.
Yeah, exactly.
De La Cruz is a giant human being. He's so tall.
He's a large man. Him and who's the guy? O'Neill, who plays
Cruz,
O'Neill Cruz, who plays shortstop for
no,
Pittsburgh.
They moved him to center field.
Oh, did they move him? Okay.
Yeah, they moved him.
Good, because he's an okay shortstop. For his body size, he's not a shortstop.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the whole play at that point happening behind De La Cruz's back, I thought so too. I thought, oh, if he could have deked and then just gone after him, maybe made the tag, and that would have been it. But again, that's what speed does, and that's what the Giants are hoping that they can do on the base path. So when you see another team do that, you go, that's what the Giants are, trying to become. And I like it. I like that kind of baseball where you've got a guy with a gigantic, a fantastic jump. He has phenomenal speed to begin with, but a fantastic jump off of first base. And then you've got a runner, I think it was Lux. It might have been Lux, who runs pretty good.
Yeah.
And so you're putting pressure all around the infield to make a play, make a decision, and make a play. And that's what the Giants are hoping to become.
Yeah. So then get into the fourth inning, and Hunter Green is just moving right along, gets Adames to fly out. Jung-Hoo Lee walks. Chapman pops out. So it's down to Ramos, and you talked about all of the pitches in the at-bat. Ramos worked the count to his advantage, but then had to battle. And Hunter Green is he's not used to not being able to get guys out in that scenario. Like, that's why he's so good at what he does.
Yeah.
He's a strikeout pitcher. And Ramos, who I think the one worry about him this year, and I know you're going to talk about this in a little bit, but he hits lefties fantastically well, so much so that I think the plan is when they face lefties, he's going to hit leadoff. And now you got this really hard throwing righty who's punching out everybody, and he's got to keep that front shoulder in, and he's got to, wait for his pitch, and he does, and you see he has that power. I'll admit, I knew the outcome of the at-bat before I saw the at-bat, and when he hit it, I was like, oh, this guy's just gonna catch it at the wall. Like, this home run happens
even though you knew it was a home run.
Yeah, this home run happens in some other way because he's gonna catch this ball right at the wall. And that ball just kept going, and very thankful that they're playing in Cincinnati, because if they're playing at AT&T or Oracle, it's probably just like on the edge of the grass or something. Pop out.
Not even off the wall.
Yeah. So, but fantastic at bat, and that has to give him some confidence that if given the opportunity to have those battles, that he can still succeed. And that's really what we keep watching the trends in baseball, and it is still so much of a power pitcher strikeout, strikeout home runs kind of league. And if that is the league, the Giants are not going to be the best team at that kind of baseball. And so that is a worry to an extent. But to see Ramos being able to hit that ball out, when I don't know what you were thinking when you were watching live, but I'm sure most people thought that at bat was going to end in a strikeout.
Yeah, because the Giants struck out 50% of their at-bats yesterday. So I didn't think the trend was about to change. But the fact that he was in there, this isn't a line change Giants team anymore under Buster Posey and Bob Melvin together. The Giants ran 9 hitters out there yesterday in the starting lineup. At the end of the game, those same 9 hitters were in the lineup. So there was not one pinch hitter by the Giants yesterday. And that's fun to see because, we'll talk about Wilmer, because Wilmer's in there in a key situation and the Giants have trust in him. And also Yaz, after the Giants take the lead, Yaz is still in there, lefty on lefty, because of his glove.
Yeah.
These guys are starting for a reason in the lineup. And hopefully most of these guys, it's going to be every day. So to have Elliot Ramos have a chance to face a hard throwing right-hander and face fastballs away with his kind of talent, his kind of opposite field talent, to watch him grow in that at bat in the first game of the season, I can't even imagine what that does for your confidence. But, compared to last year, now all of a sudden he knows I'm trusted in that situation and I came through for my team. So I think that says a lot, and that's going to help this team gel early. We predicted, anywhere from 81 to 87 wins. And if this team can win those close ball games, that 87 can grow. I mean, it really could go above 87 if this team can win these ball games like this. Now, they can't strike out 50% of the time, because that's not gonna win you ball games. So you really need to cut down on the strikeouts. You need to get down to 25% for this team, 30%. If you can get down to there in that region, that's fine. But
I mean, the whole idea, right, that all they kept saying is we're building a team to put the ball in play. Like, we're not going for the home run or nothing approach. And yet even against, to give Hunter Green some credit, like, he is one of those guys. He's one of those guys. They're not going to face a Hunter Green every game. Maybe
he is, but also
the Dodgers.
Yeah, well, that's the other key. But again, when you're facing a guy like Hunter Green and you're given the strike zone you were given yesterday, that makes it a little bit easier for Hunter Green also because he was getting stuff that was 2-3 inches off the plate.
Yeah.
I kept every time I saw a bad pitch, I'd tap my hat. I'm like, they can't, you can't
do it for everyone. Yeah.
Yeah. Next year you can challenge it. But it's like every pitch, I'm like, what is that? I mean, that's terrible. So
yeah, it's not spring training anymore.
Exactly.
So I also wanted to give a shout out to the bullpen because, Logan Webb's line isn't fantastic, but, 5 innings, 6 hits, 3 earned runs, 5 strikeouts, 3 walks. He probably is most bothered by those 3 extra base on balls that he gave them. But Rodriguez, 2 strikeouts, 1 inning. Miller, 1 strikeout. Rogers, he gave up a walk, but he got through it, and then you turned it over to Walker with a 6-3 lead, and he did give up 1 run. Some of that was because of the catcher's indifference that they didn't care about the guy getting in scoring position.
Yeah.
So the bullpen really handles that game once Logan Webb turns it over, and then we get to the 9th inning. The Giants are down 3-2 in the 9th. Who is this closer for the Reds? I have no idea who this guy was.
So Alexis Diaz is on the IL. So right now it's going to be Santillan pitched, I think, the 8th inning, and he was rumored to be the closer, taking over for Alexis Diaz while he's hurt. So
he got 2 strikeouts in the 8th.
Yeah, exactly. And Guibo comes in and just gets absolutely torched and blown up. So I would imagine I don't know how to pronounce Santillan is going to be the closer going forward. So if there's a closer situation Saturday or Sunday for the Reds, I would imagine we'll see him instead.
What is Diaz's injury?
I'm not sure, but it's not supposed to be a very long injury.
Okay.
It's only like maybe a month-long thing. So, yeah.
So Willie Adames strikes out to start the inning. Jung-Hoo Lee works a walk. Chapman hit like a little bloop shot to right field, and Jung-Hoo got to third. So you have runners on first and third, and you just need Ramos to make some contact here. He strikes out. Was it a called third? Because I seem to remember he was pretty upset.
On who?
Ramos, when he struck out.
Yes, it was. It was a slider down and away. Pretty questionable, but from the box on TV, it hit the zone.
Okay.
It would have been he would have grounded it to the right side of the infield. So, either way.
Yeah, I mean, and then if he does, then maybe it is a double play. So maybe
exactly.
Him striking out is probably not the worst thing.
Yeah.
So then Patrick Bailey, and I don't know what the confidence level is that fans have in a Patrick Bailey AB these days, especially after the end of last season, but he was able to hit a ball up the middle more to the second base side that had a little bit of steam on it, gets through. When he hit it, and again, I knew the outcome, I was like, oh man, it's right at the end. Nope, it was not right at the infielder. It was to the right of the second baseman, up the middle. They score 1, and then Wilmer Flores has a 1-2 count, and I think the pitch was actually a sweeper.
Yeah.
It should have just been called a hanger because
it didn't sweep.
It didn't sweep. It just sat there right in Wilmer's happy zone. Wilmer's almost like, man, it couldn't have been put better on a tee for where he needed that thing, and he hits the ball out. And it's like one of those moments where, again, last year, Patrick Bailey, end of the season, couldn't hit anything, had the worst luck as well. Wilmer just hurt. Like his 2023 season was such a positive thing, and last year it almost looks like he's washed up because he's so hurt. So you have these guys coming back in opening day, whatever it is, you turn the page and it's sort of fresh again, and you just hope that these moments could mean for both of these guys that they're a little bit more rejuvenated. And it was just great to see. Like, who's afraid of Wilmer Flores? No, if you're talking to a Dodgers fan, and you go, oh yeah, we got Wilmer DHing today. They're like, so we're not scared of Wilmer, right? Like, who cares? But to us, Wilmer's a good hitter, and if given the opportunity, he could be an above average hitter in the lineup. But he's not someone that you look at and you go, okay, that guy's hitting 25 bombs and driving in 80. You don't see that from him. It's kind of like if these things happen correctly, this is who Wilmer can be. And even as let's say, because we lose Encarnacion to injury before the season even starts, he's supposed to hit in the DH spot and be the regular DH. And so you lose him for the season and they turn it to Wilmer. We talked about this. I'm sure that didn't inspire a lot of people to go like, great. Like, we got a backup DH to fit the spot. But then you see these moments now, will Wilmer always do this? No, he's going to have some bad days as well. And you're going to have to be a little bit timely with his plate appearances and his just base running. This dude, the slowest guy in the league probably.
Yeah.
So, but it's moments like that where you hope that, okay, does this mean that Wilmer has turned the page on last year and is going to, one game we'll see. But those moments, hopefully they can turn into some solid seasons for these guys. So that was good to see. I saw Lamont Wade hit a couple. He hit one ball really well. I know Adames hit a ball really well. Those aren't going to show up in the stat sheet necessarily. Jung-Hoo Lee taking 2 walks was really good because you want that guy on base. And I I was kind of interested in Tyler Fitzgerald's numbers because I think he's hitting 9th. Of course, he strikes out twice. What do you sense anything positive from him? Like what is your expectation? Because again, you talk about someone who was hot in the first half of the season last year, and in the second half, it was almost like they're like, oh yeah, we got a litto bit of tape on this guy. Here's what we're going to throw him. He's not going to hit anything. And so you hope also that, what changes did he make? So I don't know, that's going to be an interesting one because do you stick with the program with Fitzy if he starts out cold, or do you go, we got this young second baseman who made the team. When he comes to the plate, if Brandon Crawford was the DJ, it would obviously be Chris Cross's jump.
And then you've got Schmidt too. So you really do have 2 guys kind of knocking on the door. So Tyler Fitzgerald, if he doesn't, tense up, we've seen his streakiness when he hits home runs, it comes in bunches. So that's, but he did make a couple of nice plays at second base yesterday. So that's good. You want that defense. Defense keeps you in games. I mean, you saw a couple of nice plays from Yaz, Jung-Hoo Lee tracking out balls in center field. Willie Adames made a couple of nice plays. Chapman's going to always make great plays, and Bailey's always going to make great plays.
Yeah.
So, to have all of those guys on the field at the same time it's going to keep you in ball games.
And to go back to your point about they basically had their starting lineup in the whole game. Defensively that's a benefit to them defensively because you don't have an outfielder coming in the 4th inning and then you're switching these guys out in different positions and stuff, and that is a benefit to the offense. But the guy that I was mentioning was obviously Christian Koss, Koss, though I like someone should just call him Chris Cross. That should be his nickname. Or you go complete yacht rock and you just play Sailing by Christopher Cross as his walk-up music.
That'd be fantastic.
That would be funny too. But look, this is what we know. We are realistic. We are bitter Giants fans, but we also understand that this team is not they're not the greatest on paper. They're not a team that you would think has got chance at the World Series. But what we want to see as fans, you want to see them compete, and you want to see these games. You want to have fun. You want to have a fun team.
You want to have improvement. Right.
and root for guys, like root for stories.
Hmm.
Um, you like having these characters in the clubhouse, because the fun thing about 2010 was not only that, oh, all of a sudden they're contenders. These guys were characters. They were fun. They were doing fun
Yeah.
stuff. So, and I'm sure some teams probably saw, or some other fan bases were probably rolling their eyes, but you want to have a fun team. You want to compete. Like you said, you want to improve. You want to show that you actually filled holes that you saw correctly. And we want to see young guys too. So there's this whole kind of gumbo of what makes a fun baseball team, or what makes a watchable baseball team. Less of the last 2 years. And even 2021 was, they were fun because they were good or
Yeah.
great in some instances. That winning always makes things better,
Yeah.
but
Oh yeah.
you want to see. I want a team that I can really root for and go, yeah, I really like this team. I like these guys, and so that's what I'm looking forward to this season.
I think if you really want to know what this team is this year, watch the dugout reaction after Wilmer hits the home run. I mean, Ramos is grabbing Jung-Hoo
Yeah,
Lee
he's like,
by the
pick
shirt and
he picked
shaking
me
him.
up, pick me
Yeah,
up. Yeah.
this is fantastic. I mean, that's what you want to watch as a fan of the team. I want to see some personality. I want to see some excitement. But I also want what we hear in spring training. I want to believe it and I want to see it. So, the talk was the strength of this team is going to be the bullpen. They had so many guys to choose from in spring training to make the bullpen coming out of spring training. And in day one, we saw the bullpen be a strength of this team. So if that bullpen starts to implode and doesn't come back from that, then you start to go, well, who am I going to believe going forward on what our strengths are, what our weaknesses are? What, again, like you said, what holes are we filling
Yeah.
and why are we filling them? We knew shortstop was a hole coming into the season. They filled that. We knew starting pitching needed to be added to, and they did that. So it's going to be a blast to watch Verlander on the mound. He's a character. He's a Hall of Famer. You got a Hall of Famer pitching for your team. And yeah, again, all the talk is about the Dodgers. It's going to be hard for them to repeat. It just is. They have a target on their back. Health is always an issue. When it comes to the Padres had them on the ropes last year, and they let them get away. The Yankees, I kind of feel like they almost gave away that World Series. You got Nestor Cortez on the mound. Why is he throwing with the bases loaded to Freeman? In a tie ball game, and he gives up that game, and then the defensive implosion in Game 5, for the Yankees. So again, that wasn't a series that was a walk away for the Dodgers, and they had to cobble together a starting rotation. If I say starting rotation, it was a bullpen. Almost all their World Series games were bullpen games, and so it's about health and depth. And I think the Giants have health right now, but they just don't have the depth. And so if Buster Posey and Manassian could go out there and find those depth pieces, because I don't know, again, we lost Encarnacion. If you lose Wilmer, now where are you at? Is Matos now your DH?
Yeah.
I mean, are you comfortable having Matos and Wade Jr.? Because we weren't going to have Wade Jr. and Flores in the lineup together that many times this season, but now we have
that's a lot of bad
so.
knees in the same lineup together.
It is, and exactly. And Wilmer needs a rest, and Matos comes into DH. I'm fine with that. Or maybe Ramos DHs, get him off his feet for a little while, put Matos out and left. I mean, there's some things you can play with this lineup right now. But in terms of depth, infield depth is okay. Outfield depth is eh. Catcher depth is okay. Again, if you lose Huff or Bailey,
Stassi, baby.
Stassi. So I mean, and again, you lose starting pitching, you've got good depth there. You lose bullpen, you've got good depth there. So I think they just need to build a little bit of that outfield depth, a little bit more catcher depth. I would feel comfortable with.
All eyes on Kyle Harrison and Luciano as well.
Exactly. And so you got Kyle Harrison, plus you've got, Roop is your fifth guy, and you've got, you know, uh, Wizenhunt is still in the minor. So you've got a lot of guys that you can kind of plug and play with the starting pitching. So, but the Dodgers have that. They have a great lineup. They have the depth too. But starting pitching wise, we know how they throw their guys out there. So there's always a chance. There's always a chance you sneak into the playoffs and you make some noise. Again, I would take our starting three. I would take Webb, Ray, and Verlander in a 3-5 series over almost any National League team. So it's just a matter of winning these ball games. We've seen what they can do. They can come from behind. Okay, now let's see them go out and take a 5-0 lead in the second or third inning and hold that lead. I want to see this team tested, and I'm sure they want to be tested too, because they want to know who they are. And going forward, you're gonna have a lot of close games. It's just the way it is, and the way this team is built.
Yeah, and there was one thing I was gonna say that I totally forgot about. But anyways, we went over the time that we even wanted to go. So thanks.
We're talking baseball. We're going to go over.
Thanks to Brad, and I'll tell you, Brad is in dad mode today because coming off of vacation, his daughter, did she get the flu or what happened?
I think it's just a real nasty cold. But anytime you go to Disneyland, you're going to pick up something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So he's in dad mode. So he was able to take a few minutes away from being in dad mode, but he's got to get back to being in dad mode, take care of his daughter. So we'll be back on Monday, and we'll have 2 more games to talk about. And hopefully the Giants can actually win the series. So wait, because they don't play today, which is Friday. They play Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah, Saturday, I believe it's a noonish game, noon, 1 o'clock. And then Sunday is our 10 a.m. game. So those are always fun. I like the Sunday morning games.
And then do they also play Monday, or do they then have another day off?
Yeah, they go to Houston on Monday for a 5 o'clock start.
Got it. Okay.
And then 3 games there. And then I think a day off. And then we either open Friday at home, Thursday at home, or Friday at home. Looks like we open Friday at home. So Thursday is an off day.
Yeah. Friday day game too, right?
Friday day game, 1:35.
It would be fun to sneak out and go to that. But no, you know what? Probably not. Probably not going to be able to do it. But, all right. So that's it from here. Thanks to Brad for being available. We wanted to get one in before next week. So I possibly recording with Brian this weekend. We'll see for the death lineup. Again, we usually would have recorded last night, but I was in the office, so we couldn't do it. So hopefully we'll try and do something this weekend. If not, we'll be back in our regular schedule the following week. So, all right, for Brad, I'm Double G. We will see you when we see you. Peace out.
Peace.